Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we're the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The lead counsel of Rodrigo Duterte criticized the release of an ICC list of alleged co-perpetrators in the former president's crimes against humanity case.
The Ombudsman says Curly Discaya may also be liable in the same flood control project in which his wife has been charged with graft and malversation.
Precautionary hold departure orders have been issued against Senator Jinggoy Estrada and several others in connection with the flood control scandal.
Crowds gather in Binondo, Manila to celebrate a Chinese New Year.
First in the news, former President Rodrigo Duterte's lawyer is disputing the ICC's latest move after the court's prosecutor named 8 alleged co-perpetrators in the crimes against humanity case tied to the drug war. Here's the report.
Senators Bato de la Rosa and Bongo are among 8 individuals named by the International Criminal Court or ICC as alleged co-perpetrators of former President Rodrigo Duterte in the crimes against humanity case linked to the war on drugs. The question now, if the ICC issues arrest warrants against De La Rosa and Go, will they be protected by the Senate? Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson said the chamber should begin discussions and reach a consensus in case warrants are issued. He said this is a concern for all senators, especially since some of those named are members of the chamber.
Talagay ko, kasi concern namin lahat yan kasi mga colleagues namin yung involved. So kailangan pag-usapan na namin kaysa doon sa intay pa ba namin magkaroon ng warrant, magkaroon ng issue, magkaroon ng gulo na wala kaming nakareding action taken.
Among the issues to be discussed is the constitutional immunity of lawmakers from arrest while Congress is in session, which applies only to offenses punishable by 6 years imprisonment or less.
Sa ngayon, hindi pa naman natin alam kung ano yung lalamanin ng warrant of arrest kung sakali ma-issue, kung ano ba magiging parusa doon. Again, mananaig pa rin yung ating konstitusyon. Gagalang natin ang ating konstitusyon. Higit sa lahat, kaysa doon sa warrant of arrest na in-issue ng International Criminal Court.
Senator Go has already denied the allegations, while former Justice Secretary Aguirre also rejected claims that he was involved in the drug war operations. The widow of former PNP Chief Camilo Cascolan likewise questioned the inclusion of her late husband in the list, saying he would have defended police operations such as Oplan Tokhang and Double Barrel if he were still alive. Meanwhile, former Duterte's lawyer, Attorney Nicolas Kaufman, asserted that the list was completely lacking in truth. According to Kaufman, the publication of the list was sensationalized and politically motivated and designed to weaken the Senate and undermine the democratic will of Filipinos. He added that the defense team will prove the allegations to be entirely untrue. Kaufman also clarified that no arrest warrants have been issued against the 8 individuals identified by the ICC.
Malacanang urged individuals named as alleged co-perpetrators of former President Rodrigo Duterte in crimes against humanity charges to refrain from hiding. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro said avoiding authorities could raise questions about accountability and stressed that those named should instead face any legal proceedings and respond through proper channels. Castro also clarified that no arrest warrants have been issued against anyone listed in the ICC document, noting that authorities currently have no legal basis to monitor their movements without formal warrants.
Kung kayo magtatago, ano bang ibig sabihin yan? Kayo ba'y may kasalanan? Tinatago nyo para hindi po kayo madinig at ma-escape kayo or ma-evade the liability of what you had done. So, hindi po kinakailangan magtago kung alam po nila na sila'y walang kasalanan, humarap sila at maging matapang sa mga maaaring proseso.
Here in the Philippines, the spirit of Chinese New Year is also in full swing, with thousands flocking to Manila's Binondo district to join the festivities. Mobile Journal Ray Vicente has the details.
Gong Shi Fat Chai! The oldest Chinatown in the world welcomed 2026 Chinese New Year last night with a firework display, drone show, and a crowd along Ongpin Street. The busy and lively street of the Filipino-Chinese community was filled with people visiting Binondo even a day before the Chinese New Year. But what makes Binondo more alive are the Filipino sellers of Chinese items spending hours of work just to celebrate the long-standing tradition.
Bilang Pilipino, nakaugalian po at nakasanayan na po namin mga Pilipino na makisaya sa Chinese New Year. Matagal na po namin itong business. Kaya alam po namin ang mga meaning, symbolize, and para saan ang mga lucky charm na ito.
For only 50 to 100 pesos, you can buy Lucky Charm bracelets designed for prosperity and success for particular symbolism. Another popular charm this year of the Fire Horse are horse figurines sold at 50 pesos, while delicacies like Tikoy remains at the top list ranging from 75 to 200 pesos. For years-long Tikoy seller like Stephanie, Chinese New Year bring people together at the heart of Filipino-Chinese heritage in Manila.
Malakas ngayon bisperas, pero nung mga nakaraang araw, medyo matumal din talaga. Siyempre po, nakikisa din tayo sa mga Chinese, mga nagsa-celebrate ng New Year nila. Tsaka, especially siyempre, yung nagninegosyo, ganun, para kumita.
The Grand Parade will start at 3 p.m. today from Manila Central Post Office to Lucky Chinatown Mall, showcasing dragon performances and fire activities. Kapatid Ray Vicente, we are One News.
And let's check the latest in Binondo. We have our mobile journalist, Jazz Paredes. Jazz, kamusta na dyan sa Binondo ba yan? Binondo?
Ponghi, Kwatchay, Angela, and Sego. Yes, nandito tayo sa Binondo ngayon. And sa mga oras na ito ay talagang sunod-sunod yung pagdating ng mga tao, mapa Chinese, Filipino, o Chinese man ay talagang nakisama sila sa selebrasyon ng pagsalubong ng bagong Chinese Year. At may natin sa aking likuran ay sunod-sunod pa rin yung pagdagsa ng mga tao. Although medyo umaambon ngayon dito kaya medyo nagsilungan yung iba. Pero nakikita natin buhay na buhay pa rin itong kalsada ng Ongpin. At kung dyan, hilera din dito yung mga nagbebenta ng iba't ibang baka dinadayo dito sa Binondo, gaya ng mga pagkain. Kanina nakakita tayo ng napakahabang pila sa bentahan ng Tikoy at bentahan ng Tikoy at ang kopya. At ayan, meron din sa likod natin sila yung mga fire dancers. Kakilala natin kanina. Talaga nag-perform sila dito dahil nga sa fire force, yung kanilang pakulong. Bukod sa mga pagkain, medyo maingay na dahil kumahan yung mga ayan. Kung natin yung pagdating, ito kami dito, and Angela and Deco. Kasi tayo mga kilita dito, iba't ibang mga lockdown. Sa Tikoy, ito, meron tayo mga bracelet for a $10 pesos, meron ka ng pampaswerte. Meron din mga lucky dance, kaya ng mga lucky bangko, donation plan, per $10 pesos, pwede lang makakapili dito. At meron din tayo mga prosperity cards, nakikita niyo sa ay nakatabi yung mga tindahan dito na nagbebenta at iba't ibang mga pampaswerte. Actually kanina, bukod sa mga bibili, ito rin yan sa mga main attraction dito na maraming mga nagpapapicture dahil nga ay talagang Chinese New Year na Chinese New Year yung background nila kapag nagpapicture sila dyan. At syempre, mabenta rin dito yung mga bilog na prutas, kaya ng mga piyan-piyan, meron din mga star apple, at sunod-sunod dyan dito sa Ongping Street. At bukod dyan, meron din mga sunod-sunod na rin yung dumadating ng mga nagda-dragon dance. Syempre, hindi mawawala yan tuwing Chinese New Year. At bukod dyan, syempre, pagdating naman sa seguridad, Angela and Diego ay nakapalibot yung mga otoridad dito. At kanina nakausap natin yung policeman, commission officer na meron daw 15 na nakadeploy dito. Pero may irin pa daw sa mga ahensya na nakadeploy bukod dito. At bandang mamayang alas 3 naman ng hapon, inirekomendang dumaan daw sa ibang alternatibong ruta o yung mga dadaan naman nila post office papunta sa Lucky Chinatown Mall, maaaring kumanan sa Jones Bridge at Osvaldo Street, kakaliwa sa Plaza Santa Cruz at Dasmariñas Street, tapos kakanan naman sa Quintin Paredes Street at Ongping Street at kakaliwa sa Pino Padilla, Solerino Regente at kadiretso sa Lucky China Mall. Yung mga dadaan doon bandang mamayang hapon dahil mamaya kasi expected natin na magkakaroon na rin ng annual na float parade na isa rin sa mga pinaka-inaabangan dito tuwing Chinese New Year. At ito na yung ating current na sitwasyon. Pero abangan natin na dadami pa yan mamaya, Angela and Diego.
Oo, marami-rami na nga yung mga pumupunta dyan and I believe last night pa talagang nagse-celebrate na dyan sa area na yan. Pero I was wondering hanggang anong oras magse-celebrate ng Chinese New Year dyan sa Binondo?
Sa ngayon, walang eksaktong oras na sinasabi dito ko hanggang anong oras. Pero yung mga nakausap natin, mga natitinda dito, hanggang madaling araw daw silang mag-i-stay dito dahil naasahan nila baka hanggang mamayang gabi ay mas marami pang dumating na makikisaya dito sa Chinese New Year. Angela.
Paano yung parking ng mga pupunta dyan?
Yun yung titignan din natin kanina, Angela, dahil nga sobrang siksikan din itong kalsada dito. At inaalam pa natin kung saan yung mga posibleng parking areas dito around Binondo, pero nire-recommend na magdumaan muna dun sa mga alternative routes kung papunta man dito at may dalang mga kotse o motor dahil medyo mahirap talaga yung parking at yung papasok dito dahil nakikita nyo naman, Angela and Diego, talaga punong-puno na ng tao itong kalsada ng Mountain.
You mentioned okay naman yung security dyan, pero I was wondering during the event, since last night, are there any recorded untoward incidents?
Lumapit tayo sa kapulisan kanina, Angela, at ayon sa kanila, wala naman daw na-report ng mga untoward incident. Pero patuloy pa rin yung kanilang monitoring. Siyempre, tuloy-tuloy yung festivity at yung mga events dito sa Ongpin. Kaya kahit wala namang na-report, patuloy yung kanilang pag-monitor at makaka-deploy daw sila sa buong Binondo para masiguro na tight yung security dito sa Binondo habang ongoing yung celebration. Angela.
Well, sige, pagbalik mo, antayin na lang namin yung tikoy na dala mo for us. Alright, maraming salamat, mobile journalist Jazz Paredes. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
President Bongbong Marcos inspected model housing units under the National Housing Program for Filipinos, or 4PH, during the 7th anniversary of the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development in Taytay, Rizal. The administration is utilizing precast technology to expedite construction. Concrete components are manufactured in plants and then assembled on-site, allowing faster and more efficient building of housing units. The President also emphasized the government's plan to expand precast plants nationwide to meet the growing demand for homes. Since 2022, the government has constructed 423,000 housing units, and reforms in the Pag-ibig Fund have made housing loans more accessible, providing more families with the opportunity to own their own homes.
A Manila court has issued a precautionary hold departure order against Senator Jinggoy Estrada and several others in connection with the flood control scandal. Here is the report.
The Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 52 has issued a precautionary hold departure order against Senator Jinggoy Estrada, former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Also included in the PHDO are former DPWH officials Roberto Bernardo, Henry Alcantara, and Gerard Opolencia. All are facing plunder, direct bribery, and corruption charges filed with the DOJ in connection with the flood control scandal. According to the DOJ, the court found probable cause to believe the respondents might flee to avoid arrest before the panel of prosecutors issues a resolution.
Kaya po siya precautionary hold departure order. So by the term precautionary, ibig po sabihin yan na bago pa po ma-file formally yung kaso in court, nag-issue na yung judge or this Branch 52 RTC Manila of the order, anticipating that the respondents in these plunder cases pending before the DOJ may evade arrest. Kaya po sila tinatawag na respondents pa rin at hindi accused because they have not yet been formally charged in court.
Meanwhile, Bonoan has filed his counter-affidavit with the DOJ over a plunder complaint. He had earlier informed authorities of his travel plans to the United States, where his wife is seeking medical attention.
Hindi pa ko alam eh. Pero nakapagpaalam na kayo, sir? Nakapagpaalam na kayo? Yeah, nakapagpaalam na.
However, the DOJ emphasized that Bonoan's notification has no bearing, as the court had already issued the PHDO. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Alright, this is expected naman to happen, and this is a preventive legal measure na ginagawa ng prosecution just in case kasi nga wala pa naman talagang kaso. Diba? It's still under DOJ's preliminary investigation. They're still determining whether there is enough evidence to file certain cases.
Ang weird lang, kasi bakit nila in-announce sa media? Kasi ang word nila is ayaw nila tumakbo. So, bago pa ma-file mismo sa judge yung actual hold departure order, lagay tayo ng precautionary kasi baka pag nalaman nila, tatakbo sila.
At least na na nila.
Hindi, I mean,
nahiya na yung kabila.
I mean, in-announce nila yung precautionary hold departure order. In-announce nila yun bago nila pina-file actually yung actual precautionary hold departure order. Yun lang ano ko lang, di ba?
Pero still, I think pa rin yun parang optics na rin yun na at least yung kabila, mahiya na yan umalis.
Actually, I don't think anymore yung mga people who have these cases care kung nakakahiya sila o hindi. Most of them who are maybe don't want to face all of this will really run kung run. Kasi in the past, nangyari naman yan. He had former Senator Gringo Honasan. He ran, evaded arrest, and he even won a seat as senator. Si Senator Ping Lacson, dinaan niya yan. So, some people, whether guilty or not, will try to circumvent the system because siguro walang tiwala sa sistema.
Yeah, well, the court said they found probable cause na maaaring nang mag-evade itong mga respondents. Respondents pa lang tawag sa kanila.
We're not saying they will evade.
Kasi di pa naman sila sinasampahan ng kaso.
We're not saying they will evade arrest. Yun
ang sinabi ng court.
No, I mean, clarify ko lang. Yung nagsasabi is based sa report.
Yeah. So the court, as I've said kanina, has found probable cause na these respondents might be able to, escape the arrest. That's why, hence the precautionary hold departure.
So, of course, ito na si Senator Jinggoy Estrada, isa sa mga big fish na inaantay ng mga tao na humarap at sumagot yung official answer niya para malaman. Yung isa pa ata is Senator Joel Villanueva, wala pa dito.
Wala pa siya dyan. Pero yun nga, kung kailangan umalis, like for example, yung kay former Secretary Manny Bonoan, he will need to ask again for travel authority if ever kailangan. Kasi precautionary, hindi pa naman talaga to hold departure order dahil wala pa naman talaga silang kaso.
Alright, the Office of the Ombudsman is eyeing more personalities who may be linked to alleged ghost flood control projects as it defends its handling of multiple corruption cases tied to the multi-billion peso scandal. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos has the report.
It is not just the wife who might be liable, but may also be the husband. That is the possibility the Office of the Ombudsman is looking at after the Department of Public Works and Highways submitted a manifestation containing a list of high-profile individuals possibly involved in the flood control mess. According to Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano, the DPWH impleaded contractor Pacifico Curly Discaya in the same case her wife Sara Discaya is facing over the alleged ghost flood control project in Davao Occidental worth 96.5 million pesos.
Nagkaroon po ng revelation dun sa mga affidavits ng iba't ibang tao na si Curly Discaya ang may beneficial ownership or nag-exercise po ng control dun sa mga kumpanya na sangkot dito sa Davao Occidental. When you say beneficial ownership po, kasama po yan lahat, no? Either they're the ones that sign on behalf of the corporations kahit wala po sila sa papel.
But Clavano admitted that it will be a challenge to prove the beneficial ownership since the information is not necessarily documented. He however assured that the Discaya patriarch will be given due process before the prosecution decides whether there is prima facie case with reasonable certainty of conviction. In the same press conference, Clavano argued that resigned Congressman Zaldico cannot seek remedy or relief from the court due to his unwillingness to cooperate, making him a full-blown fugitive. That is after Co filed a petition for certiorari in the Supreme Court asking to issue a TRO against the Ombudsman and the ICI after finding probable cause against him in an alleged substandard flood control project in Oriental Mindoro worth 289 million pesos. Still on the flood control mess, the Office of the Ombudsman believe that they followed all the necessary steps to ensure due process after the Sandigan Bayan granted former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla and the DPWH Bulacan official Juanito Mendoza to leave the court and file motion for reconsideration to the Office of the Ombudsman. That is to challenge their indictment in the alleged ghost flood control project in Pandi, Bulacan worth 92.8 million pesos, citing lack of due process.
Kami, confident ho kami sa ginawa namin. Pinasagot ho namin siya. We gave them all the opportunities to raise their defenses. And to us, yun po yung due process. Hindi po namin alam kung ano definition nila.
The Ombudsman, though, are given 60 days to resolve the matter, but legal proceedings on Revilla's case shall proceed. Meanwhile, the Office of the Ombudsman, under the leadership of Boyeng Remulla, has acknowledged the overpromising and under-delivering in persecuting personalities involved in the flood control mess, and is shifting approach into under-promising and over-delivering.
Kumbaga, nung sinabi niya po yun, ang gusto niya talaga na mangyari yun. It's a hopeful wish na ngayon hindi nangyari. So what we want to do is to prove to the people na kahit hindi nangyari nung time na yun, we will get the job done and we will get the job done well.
Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Well, buti naman in-acknowledge yung over-promising, under-delivering. Pero in the first place, dapat hindi na nagsabi ng mga gagawin nila kung hindi mangyayari yun. Yung sa simula,
Kasi last year pa sabi nila, by December, Christmas.
yeah, so don't, kunyari, just for the time, parang siguro they're trying to diffuse yung anger ng tao. Mag-overpromise ka to seem so macho, to seem so tough, di ba? But problema, yung mga ibang guilty, sasabihin nila, those who are still not, wala pang kaso, sabihin nila, wala pala eh. Di ba? So lalakas loob yung mga may sala. So, yun lang. Sana next time hindi namang maulit yan. Pero it's glad naman that they're shifting the approach. It's nice to hear that.
Well, it's not surprising din naman that there are other personalities that are involved here dito sa flood control.
Tip of the
case na
iceberg
to.
pa lang to.
Oo, because yun nga, tulad ng sinabi mo, tip of the iceberg lang yan. Yung mga names that we are familiar with these days ay kumbaga patikim pa lang yan, ano? At if I can remember it correctly, in one of his interviews, si Ombudsman na Boyeng Remulla, sabi niya we could look at over 6,000 people involved in this flood control mess. Kasi nga, di ba, pinag-uusapan natin also dito thousands of locations ng mga flood control projects na it's either substandard or ghost talaga. So, yun yung mga nakikita natin. And dun sa mga sumbong sa Pangulo website, di ba, may mga marami din dun ng mga lugar na sinasabi na talagang under this flood control mess. Kaya hindi na ako ma-surprise pa kung mas marami pa.
Itong mga kaso, ano pa lang to mga Bulacan Boys, sa Davao pa lang.
Oo.
Wala pa yung mga...
Yung kay Diskaya sa Negros, if I'm not mistaken.
Davao Occidental.
Davao
case,
Occidental.
That's what I was saying. Bulacan Boys, Davao, meron pa sa Mindoro ba yun? Pero madami pang places na hindi pa nila tinatapos ng report based sa listahan na binigay kay PBBM na nagkamali sila ng coordinates. They're still rectifying that. Pero pag na-rectify daw fully yung coordinates, which is malapit na, then makikita natin more or less gaano kalawak talaga itong flood control scandal mess.
Well, they were trying to explain, di ba, yung doon sa usapin ng pagkakamali daw ng coordinates. They're saying na iba yung parang coordinates kapag pinaplano pa lang versus doon sa coordinates na iplano na gagawin na supposedly yung flood control.
Well,
meron silang meron silang certain terminology.
Ang problema kasi dyan, ang premise is the President was making a report on possible flood control anomalies na rini-report sa bayan. So based on sa promise ni PBBM, yun ang binigay nila kay Pangulo. So the President reports it as is. Dito dapat na yung project sa coordinator to, wala. Yun ang basis kasi ng investigation ng group ng Office of the President. So hindi nila pwede sabihin sa planning, hindi naman sinabi ni Pangulo, sa planning ito nangyari, tapos sa iba, hindi The President said, these were the coordinates, sa mga iba dito, wala. Check nyo, mga kababayan, kung gusto nyo, kung meron dito mga proyekto based sa coordinates na to. So, diba?
Tsaka, siguro if we can believe na may ganun nga na pagkakaiba sa versus the planning and the actual itself, hindi naman siguro malalayo yun,
Alam mo, sa planning stage...
Kunyari, konting usog lang or what's...
Alam mo, lang yan very simple lang naman yan. Parang let's say sa corporate, di ba? Sa corporate, kung nagmamancom ka, may planning ka. Yung planning, sasubmit mo sa Pangulo or head ng corporation. Babarilin ngayon ng Pangulo yan, ng head ng corporation. At sasabihin, give me a more formal plan. Yung formal plan ang i-release sa mga stockholders, hindi magre-release ang head of the company ng plans lang sa stockholders. Yung approved ang ibibigay nila. So, wag nila sabihin na planning pa lang yan yung nabigay kay Pangulo ng kamali. Hindi. Dapat ang binigay yung approved already para maibangga maibangga nila kung may project talagang
Siyempre,
nangyayari.
gagawa na lang ng dahilan if ever, di ba? Mga pwedeng ilusyon. But of course, we're still waiting din doon sa iba pang mga investigation dito aside from the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Yung ICI, nananahimik siya ngayon and we don't know yet kung ano na ang plano ng Pangulo dito sa ICI. Is it going to be closed down or mag-a-appoint pa siya? Kasi ilan na lang natira. Isa na lang talaga yung pinaka-commissioner dyan, di ba? Yung ibang mga na-appoint dyan ay nag-resign na rin.
Correct.
So, yan ang isa sa mga inaantay din natin. Ano ba talaga plano ng Pangulo tungkol dito sa ICI na to. But for the meantime, in other news, discussions on the proposed anti-political dynasty law are heating up, with lawmakers and stakeholders tackling key questions on its scope and possible impact. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes reports.
Ano ka jowa mo pa lang? Kasi po dito, just presented themselves to the public. So kung magjowa lang po sila, covered po ba yun? Or they have to habit or they have to live together before the law will apply to them. Dito po kasi regardless of sexual orientation, ano po kung dalawang beki.
Pero doon po sa bill ko, kahit hindi po sila kasal ng simbahan o civilly, basta meron silang iisang tahanan at pinakikilala ang sarili nila bilang isang couple, kahit nga hindi po kasal, mako-cover nung ban. Kung originally mga mayor ng magkaibang bayan, pero habang nanunungkulan ay nag-ibigan at naging couple, sa susunod na eleksyon ay mako-cover sila kung cohabiting.
In yesterday's Senate Electoral Reforms Committee's public consultation in Marilao, Bulacan, the formulation of a Contra Dinastia law was welcomed by its participants with a few recommendations in mind. From the Pampanga State University School of Law, Attorney J.T. Leonardo Santos mentioned the need for a certification similar to a certificate of non-forum shopping, where hopeful political candidates will be disclosing its relationship with incumbent or running politicians to the COMELEC.
Tapos lagyan po ng penalty kapag hindi po siya nag-disclose kasi hindi siya honest. Pangalawa po, lagyan po natin ng rule ng first to file rule para mag-unahan sila. Paano po kung sabay-sabay sila nag-file? Sino po ang ipe-prefer ng COMELEC? Maguguluhan po kasi yung relationship.
Law students, student councils, coalitions, and civil society organizations took to the forum how disappointing it was that the youth have been the ones pursuing clean governance when the elders in the field should have been role models. According to the Model SK Network, the scope of the Contra Dinastia law should also extend to the fourth civil degree of consanguinity and affinity.
Dahil po tayo sa Pilipinas, we are a family-centric country. Most of the household nga po, di ba? Extended family, kasama natin mga lolo natin, lola natin, pamangkin, tito, tita. So, hindi po malayo. Dagdag pa po rito, masyado po tayong nagpapaniwala sa away kunyari ng mga pamilya. Na para bang nagiging teleserye na po yung politika.
Several others asked for assurance on the effectivity of the much-awaited law, as well as the protection of institutions who hope to take a stand against political abuse. Director Temi Lambino of the Commission on Elections also took note that the anti-political dynasty law will not negatively impact the transition of governance as long as there is an established policy on how to properly serve the public.
Paano din po titiyakin na mananatiling ligtas na ang espasyo ng demokratikong partisipasyon ang mga institusyong pang-edukasyon at hindi maging extension ng political machinery? We cannot further risk our futures for the few good dynasties na sinasabi po ng iba.
Yung political ang problema, hindi yung services. As long as we have well-entrenched procedure on how to serve the people, on how services would go to the people, then we wouldn't be worrying about transition. We wouldn't be worrying about kung sino ang uupo.
In addition, Angeles City Vice Mayor Amos Rivera suggested that qualifications to running for public office be amended. Aside from just having the capacity to read and write, he sees that in order to have competent and qualified officials, increasing the literacy requirement should be looked into. A political candidate's campaign expenses, he says, should also be strictly limited to level the playing field and their moral compass.
And naturally, bilang tao, pag-upo po niya na magiging 3 years na mindset po yan kung paano niya babawiin yung nagastos kaysa dun sa 3 years na kung paano siya maglilingkod.
So far, the last consultative meeting will be done on February 19 in Cagayan de Oro City in Misamis Oriental. After that, forums may follow. Senator Risa Hontiveros remains optimistic that the upper chamber will be able to pass its Contra Dinastia law by late March this year. Kapatid mobile journalist Mary Mon Reyes, we are One News.
Agree ako doon sa sinabi ni Senator Risa na kahit walang blood relation pero nagkasama kayo sa isang bahay, you should be barred from running position. Because if you look at the definition of or the intent of the anti-political dynasty law, the intent is to prevent a certain group of individuals from controlling a certain geographical location or for political gain. So, in essence, kunyari, di ba, hindi kayo magkasal, pero magjowa kayo at the time, tatakbo ka ng mayor sa kabilang town, tatakbo ng congressman ka sa same town, tapos yung anak ng ang girlfriend mo, boyfriend mo, tatakbo dito. So, in essence, meron kang control over a certain area for political gain. Yun naman ang intent, to provide protection against people controlling certain political areas for yung gain nila. So, yun ang pinaka-basic pinanggagalingan nitong anti-political dynasty law.
So tuloy-tuloy nga yung mga consultation kasi until daw hindi pa rin talaga ma-define para magkaroon ng enabling law, kailangan i-define talaga kung ano ba yung political dynasty. Doon dyan sa public consultation na yan nangyari sa Makati, I think there was a suggestion by someone who said na i-ban daw yung political dynasty up to 10th level of consanguinity. Pero sobrang OA naman yun. Parang it means the whole voters list na yun, di ba? Parang yun dapat atitigan din kasi mamaya parang ginagamit na lang tong narrative na to para sa, alam mo yun.
Maybe that sounds good in a perfect world. Pero
mga populist.
Ang problema dyan sa Pilipinas, napakaliit ng geographical map natin, di ba? So we're all related at one point or another, we're all related up to certain degree. Diba? So, how do you do that? How do you implement that? Ano ang magiging barometer
pa naman dito, uy, kamag-anak ko.
What if meron 6 dyan na nagsabay-sabay nag-file sa COMELEC? Sino tatanggalin ng COMELEC?
That's why sinabi nila merong suggestion na first to file rule. Kumbaga parang first come, first serve.
Kaya nga, what if nasa isang 10, diba, na degree, may 6 sabay nag-file, sino tatanggalin mo?
Pero maganda rin yung sinasabi ng mga iba during that consultation na dapat naman daw at this point, yung mga public officials or yung mga elected officials naman ang mag-sacrifice. Sabi nila, a common Filipino makes sacrifices every day. So it's time for government officials to also sacrifice for the anti-political dynasty. Kumbaga, parang suportahan itong political dynasty. Kasi halos lahat ngayon, name it, di ba? Bumubuo sa Senate natin, sa Congress natin, sa mga local government units, lahat yan, they belong to certain political dynasty.
Good luck. Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
The family of Mary Jane Veloso is appealing to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to personally visit her in jail and grant her clemency. Members of Migrante International, along with Veloso's parents, Celia and Cesar, held a protest in front of the Department of Justice, or DOJ, calling for her release. Veloso has been detained at the Correctional Institution for Women for more than a year after being transferred from Indonesia. Her family insists she is a victim of human trafficking and is hoping the president will consider granting clemency so she can return home.
Buong pamilya Veloso po nananawagan sa iyo, mahal na Pangulo. Maawa ka na kay Mary Jane, palayain mo na siya. Dahil wala naman po kasalanan na aking anak, biktima lang po siya, mahal na Pangulo. Kaya sana po, ibigyan na po ninyo ang hinihingi namin na clemency kay Mary Jane para makapiling na po namin. Ako po ay matanda na. Matagal naman na pong nagdusa ang aking anak na sana po itong panawagan po namin na ito matugunan na po ninyo. Sana po mag-usap-usap na po kayo na bibigay na ang clemency sa aking anak para makauwi na at makapiling na namin po siya.
With us now is Attorney Efraim Cortez, President of the National Union of People's Lawyers. Good morning, Attorney. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Attorney.
Yes, good morning, Diego, and good morning, Angela.
Alright, Attorney, thank you for joining us. No? Parang medyo, nga, no, nakaligtaan ng mga taong bayan din na Mary Jane is still in jail as of this moment. But tila nagkaroon ng, kabagalan sa discussion of releasing her when there were talks when she arrived here from Indonesia na may possibility or may mga certain remedies para mapakawala siya kaagad.
Yes, hindi na consider yung mga remedies, especially yung clemency. Unang-una, she was convicted in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And now that she's here, she's now outside the jurisdiction ng Indonesian court. So, technically, ay wala ng legal impediment para hindi siya palayain. Considering na wala namang legal basis ng kanyang continued na pagkakakulong dito sa Pilipinas. At least ito sana ay na-consider ng ating Pangulo sa pagbibigay niya ng clemency. Malinaw naman yung one of the conditions nung tinurn over siya ng Philippine government sa Pilipinas na bahala ng Pilipinas sa kanya except that hindi na pwedeng galawin yung conviction. Ngayon, kung hindi pwedeng galawin ng conviction, ibig sabihin, he will not be declared innocent, but she can be released by the President by exercising his power na magbigay ng clemency.
Sorry, Attorney. In other words, ang sinasabi ng pinaka-isang basis ng agreement lang is ibabalik natin si Mary Jane sa Pilipinas pero please do not declare her innocent or
wag lang galawin yung decision
wag lang galawin
Indonesia.
Yung Indonesia. Pero she can be released sana. Ano pa ibang there was another remedy, I don't remember, Attorney, na pinag-uusapan nila na possible daw gamitin kay Mary Jane.
We already filed a petition for habeas corpus. We're questioning the validity of her continued detention, considering na wala namang legal or decision ng isang korte sa Pilipinas convicting her of any crime that will justify her continued detention sa Correctional Institute for Women. Ang CIW ay intended only for those who has been convicted. Ngayon, wala siyang conviction dito sa Pilipinas ng any court. She was convicted in Indonesia, tapos dinala siya sa Pilipinas. You have to remember na yung authority or jurisdiction ng Indonesian court ay hanggang sa territorial jurisdiction lang nila. Since wala na siya sa territorial jurisdiction ng Indonesia, wala nang bisa yung conviction insofar as her dito sa Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, there's no legal or valid reason for her continued detention. That's why we filed a petition for habeas corpus questioning the legality of her continued detention. Isa yan sa mga remedies available for her. And we are waiting actually for the Supreme Court to act on the petition.
Kaya lang syempre ang lagi pong sinasabi ng kampo po ng Malacanang, nagkaroon po kasi ng Philippines-Indonesia arrangement to give this clemency. So sabi nga po ni Yusek Castro, i-review nila yung terms pero yung decision still remain with the President.
Yes, kasi yung clemency talaga ay a power that only prerogative yun ng ating presidente, executive power yun. That's why the family is appealing to him na i-exercise niya yung kanyang prerogative and grant Mary Jane clemency.
But si Mary Jane Veloso po wrote a letter, a public letter to the President. Pero ang sinasabi po ni Yusek Castro, she should communicate directly to the President with this letter. Pero has she done that already before? Nakatry na po ba siya na makarating yung kanyang mensahe directly to the President?
Not to my knowledge, kung meron ng letter. They also sent a letter to the Supreme Court, and I think yan ang next move siguro to officially send an official communications with the Office of the President.
Attorney, gusto ko lang i-clarify, no? Kasi interesting nga you said na walang jurisdiction nga. Alam naman natin, walang jurisdiction ng Indonesian court past their borders, no? So, in essence, ano ang tawag natin sa pagka-detain ni Mary Jane Veloso in Philippine soil given na wala naman siyang cases
Case here.
inside the Philippine borders? Is that parang illegal detention? What is it? What do you call it?
Well, technically, it's arbitrary detention. Kasi nga, walang legal basis for her continued detention. Kasi, ano man yung conviction sa Indonesia, whatever decision issued by the Indonesian courts, ay wala nang visa nung tumawid siya dito sa Pilipinas. In fact, hindi lang si Mary Jane yung pinaka tinransfer ang custody ng Indonesian government noong December 2025. May isa pang Australian 2024, may isa pang Australian na transfer. Upon reaching Australian soil, she was immediately released.
Yes.
Kasi nga, walang basis for the Australian government to continue to hold her in detention absent any decision from Australian court to validate or legalize her detention. Ganon din si Mary Jane. Walang decision dito sa Pilipinas. And sa atin, basic yan that you can only be arrested pag may warrant of arrest or you are convicted of a crime that requires your detention.
So ano po ba sa tingin ninyo kung bakit po hanggang ngayon wala pa ring desisyon ng Pangulo regarding this?
Sa tingin ko, kailangan niya ng political will at mukhang hindi na pag-aaralan ng gusto ng ating Department of Justice and even yung kanyang mga advisors ang mga legal implications ng continued detention ni Mary Jane. At sa tingin ko, isang violation na yan ng kanyang karapatan.
Was there any coordination between the DOJ or anybody from Malacanang part of this case to try to explain yung situation and what is happening? Kasi arbitrary detention, medyong malalim yun. If that happens to any Filipino here na wala naman kaso rin dito, malaking issue yan.
Yun nga yung aming gusto sana. Unang-una, pinipilit namin makakuha ng documents transmitted by the Indonesian government when they transferred the custody of Mary Jane to the Philippine government. Apparently, wala. According to the concerned government officials that we have talked to, may mga dokumento, pero apparently ay wala yung sinasabi nilang written conditions. And itong mga condition ay nasa bahasa. And they said they're trying to have it translated. And this was mid-2025 nung in-inform nila kami na there's an ongoing study ng mga documents. Pero 2026 na ngayon ay hindi pa rin napapag-aralan, wala pa ring official communications. What are the conditions? Wala pa nakakaalam kung ano yung mga dokumentong dala-dala ng mga government officials na kumuha ng custody ni Mary Jane as of now. Yun ang aming problema ngayon.
Right, we will continue to get in touch with you regarding this issue. For the meantime, maraming salamat po muli sa inyong oras, Attorney Efraim Cortez, President of the National Union of People's Lawyers. Magandang umaga po.
Maraming salamat din po.
All right, let's get back to the issue about political dynasty. To help us unpack the latest political developments, we are joined by political analyst and legal expert Dr. Froilan Calilong of the University of Santo Tomas. Good morning. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Diego. And good morning also to our viewers. Happy Chinese New Year to everyone as well.
Yes, so it seems that you are on the road, ha? Pasensya na po. Oo. Sige, okay. So, ang dami po nangyayari ngayon, dami dapat pag-usapan. We have anti-political dynasty bill. Ito pong co-perpetrators na lumabas over the weekend. What is the political significance of the ICC naming sitting Senate or ICC naming sitting senators as alleged co-perpetrators in this case?
Well, definitely there are several implications. Majority of them actually are political at this point in time now because syempre there's no finality pa lang naman doon sa mga kaso. Pero if the purpose really is to weaken the current Duterte bloc in the Congress, in the Senate, then I think maaring mangyari yun, ano? Pero kung matutuloy kasi ang impeachment, if we're looking at the impeachment at the moment, I think the magic number still, as the Constitution will say, is still 16, no? So the primary consideration here is whether or not the majority will be able to muster enough strength to actually invite or entice members of the minority to change camps and join them later on so that they will be assured of a conviction for the vice president. Pero as the Constitution says, no, it's still 16 that needs to be met so that we will be able to convict an impeachable officer, no. Pero syempre may mga epekto rin ito, no, particularly those sa committee chairmanships, no, particularly syempre yung presensya nila is very much important also, especially for the morale of the minority bloc. But then again, like I said, no, from a legal standpoint, kakailanganin talaga nila ng sapat na numero para makapagpa-impeach sa ating ikalawang Pangulo.
Pero Doc, given last year malamang there would have been a chance na pag pumunta sa trial to magkaroon ng conviction. But you think this time around kung makalusot ito sa Congress, ma-impeach si VP Sara sa Congress, you think there are favorable numbers, or even if you have favorable numbers, will the Senate aim for a conviction knowing that the elections is around the corner?
Well, the way I'm seeing it, I think with the pronouncements of the current leadership of the Senate, I think they're really dead set on aiming for a possible conviction for the vice president, no? Because the dynamics as we know it right now in the Senate actually is very much in favor of the administration at this point, no? So I think although some of them actually may be thinking regarding voting for a possible conviction, because much of their political capital and their political future may actually be at stake here, no? Primarily because we have seen in the past election how the vice president was able to support several candidates, and most of them actually did win, no? So even in the Congress, I think the same sentiment is also holding at the moment, primarily because some congressmen are also thinking about their political capital and their political future as well, whether or not they're going to support this impeachment, considering that the incentives for supporting it right now is not the same as that of the 19th Congress. We have a different leadership right now in the lower house. That's one thing. And secondly, no, yun nga, maaring isipin nila ano ba talaga ang mapapala nila kung sakaling may impeach ang ikalawang Pangulo, knowing that she is very popular right now, and at the same time bumababa naman yung trust rating ng ating Pangulo.
Dugtong lang, sorry. On my part lang, interesting you said that. If you remove, in essence, let's say may convictions upper house, the Senate, and you remove her and VP Sara can no longer run for office, is it tantamount to saying that the Duterte bloc is dead in the water?
That's the problem right now kasi, no, especially with the opposition or the administration or whatever alliance that alliance that they're possibly forming. To think na kapag impeach, no, or talaga na convict si VP Sara, that the votes of the public will transfer or will shift to their favor, no. We have to understand that the Duterte bloc, no, or yung mga kung tawagin natin ay DDS, hindi po yan basta-basta bibitaw, no, sa mga Duterte kahit anong mangyari, no. And I think what is important here to note is that kung hindi man makakahabol si VP Sara because of a legal blockade, no, like a conviction dito sa impeachment proceeding na to, definitely they will think of having another person to run, no, in her place. And yung mga supporters ng mga Dutertes, I think, instead na pupunta sila dito sa bloke ng administration o ng Liberal Party o kung sino man alliance that they're gonna be having, I think their loyalty will still remain to the Dutertes, no. So yun yung dapat nating maintindihan dito, no, na hindi porket na convict na si VP Sara mawawala na ng puwang yung opposition, particularly the Dutertes, from running, because they could still filled in any other candidate, and BP Sara could still throw in the support to that candidate, and the DDS or the supporters of the Dutertes will still be able to select or vote for them and support them.
Well, going back to the issue of ICC, the naming of co-perpetrators, paano po yan? Ano po bang dapat gawin ngayon ng ating bansa, no, ng ating administration for that matter? Katulad lang ng what really happened with the former President Rodrigo Duterte, na nakipag-cooperate sila sa ICC and the Interpol, or yung sinasabi ng depensa ngayon ng Duterte administration na dapat dumaan muna ito sa local courts, etc. para hindi masunod nga yung supposedly ngayon, pero wala pa naman talagang arrest warrant.
Yeah, yun nga, no, medyo on one end, masyadong presumptive itong ating pagpapalagay na magkakaroon nga talaga ng pag-aresto. It gives the public the impression that there is really this kind of connection or connivance possibly happening between the administration and the ICC, no? Kasi paano nila to nalalaman, or bakit sila nagkakaroon ng ganito kaagad na mga apprehensions, this early. But the point here is clear, no. I think if we believe that accountability and justice is what we're aiming for here, I think maliwanag na dapat talagang masunod at dumaan sa tamang proseso, no. Kasi nga nakita na natin in the past that the arrest of the former president really did not sit well with the public. No, the public outcry was there. Many people think that this was really unjust and quite unconstitutional and very, illegal to some extent. Pero ang titingnan natin dito is, natuto ba yung administration? Are they going to do the same thing again? Is because it will boil down to a question of sovereignty at the end of the day. And do we have perfectly functioning or functioning at the very least judicial system na kaya naman natin itong gawin? Siguro kinakailangan lang talagang yung proper channeling, yung proper protocol masunod. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na hindi dapat arestuhin or dapat arrestin, pero yung legal technicalities, yung procedural context dapat talaga na i-uphold natin.
Alright, we have a lot to unpack. Kaya lang, unfortunately, wala po na tayong time. Yeah. For the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Dr. Froilan Calilong of the University of Santo Tomas. Magandang umaga po.
Anytime, mabuhay po kayo. Salamat po.
More than 80 Filipinos have been rescued from scam hubs in Myanmar. They suffered beatings, electrocution, and were often denied food. Daily quotas of $1,000 to $2,000 forced long hours and severe punishment for anyone who fell behind. Since 2025, over 800 Filipinos have returned from Myanmar and nearly 500 from Cambodia. Authorities warn against accepting job offers that don't go through official agencies. Uy, happy...
Wait, what I meant kanina, Duterte camp, not administration. Did I say administration? You said.
Gabi naman. Inaalaglag mo ako dito.
Oo. Okay.
Happy Chinese New Year to everyone.
Yes.
Medyo kalmado yung daan ngayon, so medyo chill ang mga tao. And with that...
Dito lang sa area natin.
Well, let's see.
Sa Binondo maraming tao.
Ay, oo. Hindi, given na yun. Kasi up to, I think tonight, may celebration sa Binondo. So, may food, meron daw mga shops, di ba? So, come on down. Come on down sila. Alright, before we go, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote. Out with the old, in with the bold. Cheers to new beginnings. Happy Chinese New Year.
Another chance to get it right, sabi nila.
Or another chance to do better.
Yes.
And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunzad Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III, kapatid, we are One News.
All sides, all the time.